Our today's lesson is pronoun reference. That is referencing pronoun. We have to learn this particular topic for our English second paper course. And we have 12 topics in English grammar. That is English second paper. And this pronoun referencing is one of them. And at the very outset of my lecture, I like to share the screen with you. This is pronoun reference. And I think that if you want to achieve efficiency in this particular topic, or in any topic, it's a very prime need, a very, very essential to have preliminary ideas or preliminary knowledge. If you don't have preliminary knowledge, you will face lots of difficulties. For example, if you do not have basic ideas, or if you do not know the definition of pronoun, or if you do not know different kinds of pronouns, I think that would tell upon your performance in this particular topic. So I think at first I will tell you about this topic in detail. You will listen to me with attention, and I request you to switch off your microphone, listen to me, and towards the end of our session, towards the end of our class, I will invite your questions. So if you have any question, or if you think that there is something difficult that you have not understood, then you will question me. Okay. And at first I request you to switch off your microphone and listen to me. At the very outset, I just like to tell you about the definition of pronoun. What is a pronoun? Pronoun means the word which is used instead of noun. So pronoun is not a noun. It is a word which is used in place of a noun. So come to this example. Suppose Sadia is a good girl, and the next sentence, she obeys her teachers. So now look at this word she. This she is used here instead of Sadia. Sadia is the name of a girl, so it's a naming word. As it is a naming word, it's a noun. So noun is a naming word. All right? Noun is a naming word. Understand? Noun is a naming word. But the word which is used instead of that naming word, suppose here we have used she, this she is a pronoun. All right? Now, some basic things you have to know if you want to perform well in this particular topic. So what basic things should you know? The basic things include definition of pronoun, then kinds of pronoun. You know, pronoun is of 9 kinds. You have to know all those kinds very clearly. Suppose personal pronoun, possessive pronoun, interrogative pronoun, indefinite pronoun, reflexive pronoun. So there are these 9 kinds of pronouns. So you have to know all these pronouns. Then when you will have a question in your board examination, or in your internal examinations of college, you will be given a passage. And in that very passage, you may have 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 sentences. And in those sentences, you will be given some particular problems regarding pronouns. You may be given a wrong pronoun. If you find a wrong pronoun in the passage or in a sentence, then you have to use a correct pronoun in place of that pronoun. Understand? So you have to use a correct pronoun in place of a wrong pronoun. So you may have a problem like this. Then number 2, you may be given a correct pronoun in the passage. Suppose the question that is selected for you contains correct pronouns, but you find several pronouns and similar pronouns, and you also find there several nouns in a passage. Then which pronoun refers to whom, or which pronoun refers to what particular noun? This very question may visit you. That is, you may feel confused regarding the use of similar pronouns several times. Then what is your duty? Your duty is to clarify that very pronoun. That is, you will use the pronoun, but that very pronoun refers to a particular noun. Then what will you do? You will write that very particular noun by the side of that pronoun. Okay. So this is another problem that you have to solve in that question. So you will get 2 kinds of problems. Number 1, you may find a wrong pronoun. If you find a wrong pronoun, you have to write there a correct pronoun. And then you may underline it. This is number 1. Number 2, you may find a correct pronoun. Then what's your duty? Your duty is to write the noun whom that very particular pronoun refers. You will write the noun beside that very pronoun within brackets and then underline it. All right. So I think you will find these 2 kinds of problems. And before going to discuss these things, I just like to give you an example that I have selected from board questions. Board questions. I just like to show you how you will have the question in your board examinations. This is a question. Just look at this. Question number 2. The question is, identify the unclear pronoun references. This is your question. Identify the unclear pronoun references. That is, there will be pronoun, but it will be unclear. Then what's your duty? Your duty is to clarify it. Okay? Then, where necessary, rewrite the sentences so that all pronoun references are clear. Okay? That is, you will find 2 sorts of problems in this passage. Number one, you will find an unclear pronoun. So your duty is to clarify it. Number two, you may find a wrong pronoun. Then your duty is to write the correct or right pronoun. Okay. Now look at this example. I just like to read this passage for your sake. The Egyptians believed that after death, people would go to another world. Is there any pronoun in this sentence? No pronoun. I find here no pronoun. So if you don't find any pronoun in the sentence, then don't think of it. And one thing that you must remember is that you have to write the whole passage in your exam script. You will write the whole passage. Understand? You need not write only a single word as your answer to this question. You have to write the whole passage. And then you must use correct pronoun and pronoun reference. That is the reference that the particular pronoun mentions. So you must write the whole passage in your answer script. Okay. So in the first sentence, we do not find any confusion, or we do not find any pronoun here. So just skip it. Then come to the next sentence. One thought that in that world, people still would need many things he had on earth. I think you have marked this pronoun. Just mark this pronoun, and for your benefit, I just like to change its color so that you can easily mark it on the screen. One thought that. Hey, whom does this one refer? This one refers to the Egyptians. Am I right? This one refers to the Egyptians. Now think of this one. Is this word correct? No, it is not correct. Because this one refers to whom? The Egyptians. And Egyptians, you know, this very phrase gives plural sense. As this phrase gives plural sense, you have to use a plural pronoun here. Understand? So one is a wrong pronoun here. Just try to think about the relationship between this one and the Egyptians. The Egyptians, this very phrase gives us plural sense, but one gives the sense of singularity. So one is not correctly used here. Then what will we do? We will delete this pronoun. We will not write this pronoun in our answer script. We will write here a correct pronoun. What is that correct pronoun? They. Okay? So what is the correct pronoun here? They. So you will write here they. Okay? This is correct answer. Now continue reading this passage. They thought that in that world, people still would need many things. People still would need many things he had on earth. Okay, here we find a pronoun. What is that pronoun? He. Now, whom does this he refer? This he refers to people. This he refers to whom? It refers to people. All right? So for that reason, we will not write here he. We will write here they. Okay? We will write here they. This is a wrong pronoun. So this is the character. All right? Because this they refers to people. So in this way, you have to identify the pronouns at first in the passage. Then you will try to understand whether it is correctly used or wrongly used. If it is wrongly used, then you will delete it, discard it, you will give up it, and use a correct pronoun there. Now, continue reading the text. They thought that in that world, people still would need many things they had on earth. Their kings had many wonderful treasures. Their kings, that is the people's kings, had many wonderful treasures. They loved and respected them. Hey, whom does this pronoun refer? They refers to the kings or the people. So this very pronoun creates confusion. We are confused about the identity of the noun behind this pronoun. Whom does this particular pronoun refer? Does this pronoun refer to the people or the kings? Undoubtedly, people. This they refers to the people. Okay? Their kings had many wonderful treasures. They loved and respected them very much. So they buried them with dead kings. This they refers to people. Okay? This is the correct answer. They is not wrong here. They is correct. But they creates confusion. Understand? This they creates confusion. Now, whom does this they refer? This they refers to people. For that reason, you will write here people. Or you may write here people and you may underline it, or you may not underline it. Okay? You may underline it or you may not underline it. Now, let's continue reading the text. They loved and respected them. They loved and respected them. So, they loved means the people loved and respected them. Them is them. Whom does this very pronoun refer? This pronoun refers to the kings. All right. This pronoun is also correctly used, but this pronoun, whom does it refer? It refers to kings. All right. Okay. So this kings, this very particular word, is referred by this pronoun. This pronoun is not wrong. Just think of it. This pronoun is not wrong here. If it is not a wrong pronoun, then you will just write the correct noun within brackets. That is, whom does this pronoun refer? You have to show. You may write the nouns directly, giving up the pronoun. You may not write the pronoun them. You will directly write kings. Or you may keep this pronoun intact and write the noun within brackets beside it. All right. Now come to the next sentence. So they buried them. So they means people. So they buried them with dead kings. So they means people buried them. Them. What does this them refer? Whom does this them, this very particular word refer? This refers to the treasures or wonderful treasures. You know, wonderful, wonderful treasures. All right. So if you write here wonderful treasures, it removes confusion. It removes confusion. Okay. This is called pronoun reference. So from this very particular example, we have learned two things regarding this question. Number one, you may have the wrong pronoun. If you find a wrong pronoun in your question, you will give up this wrong pronoun and write the correct pronoun. And number two, you may have right pronoun, but the use of same pronouns repeatedly or several times in a single passage where we find several nouns may create confusion. You may feel confused. So how can you remove this confusion? You can remove this confusion by referring to the noun. Suppose this pronoun refers to people. This pronoun refers to kings. And this pronoun refers to wonderful treasures. This is called pronoun reference. Understand? You will find the questions like this in your final exam. Now, I just like to take you back to our preliminary discussion. Come to the beginning of our discussion. Till now, I have given you some ideas about the question pattern and about how you will answer to the question. Okay. Now, what things should you learn if you want to perform well in this particular topic? Number one, definition of pronoun. I believe you know this definition. Number two, kinds of pronoun. Number three, the use of pronouns. Number four, the pronouns may be correctly used, and you have to learn how to refer to the noun. Now, know the use of relative pronouns. Yes, the use of relative pronouns. This is very, very important. You may have some questions on the basis of the use of relative pronouns. So what is relative pronouns? I just like to give you some ideas about this particular thing. What is relative pronoun? Relative pronoun, just look at this screen. Relative pronoun. What is relative pronoun? Just think, relative pronoun does two functions. Relative pronoun, I just like to say, the relative pronoun does two functions. Relative pronoun does two functions. Number one, it connects two clauses. It connects two clauses. Number two, it does the function. it does the function of subject. It does the function of subject of subordinate clause. Okay, so related pronoun does two functions. Related pronoun does two functions. Number one, it connects two clauses. So in this way, it does the function of conjunction. And number two, it does the function of subject of subordinate clause. Now come to this example. I know the man who is industrious, or who is very industrious. So how many clauses do you find here? I know the man. And who is very industrious? This is subordinate clause. Now we find here two clauses. And these two clauses are connected by who? So who connects these two clauses? I know the man, this is principal clause. And who is very industrious? This is subordinate clause. And these two clauses are connected by what? These two clauses are connected by who? So who is doing the function of relative pronoun here? Who is also doing the function of subject of subordinate clause? If I say who is very industrious, who is very industrious? So if I ask you what is the subject of this subordinate clause, you will say who. So who is doing the function of subject here? All right. So this who is a relative pronoun. Now how you will be given a question? How will you be given a question regarding the problems with the use of relative pronoun? Suppose I saw a dog. I saw a dog who was barking. Who was barking. Now just think of this example. I saw a dog who was barking. So we find here a relative pronoun who. Now if I question you, is this relative pronoun used correctly? No. This relative pronoun is not used here correctly. Understand? Then what is the correct relative pronoun here? I saw a dog. You will say, I saw a dog which was barking. Okay? So who is not a correct relative pronoun here? You will write here which. Why? Because the antecedent that we find here, a dog, this is called antecedent. You know, antecedent. I just like to write this word for your convenience. Antecedent. Antecedent is a word or a phrase which is used just immediately before a relative pronoun. And it is also referred by a relative pronoun. Suppose if I say which was barking, which was barking, which was barking. So whom does this which refer? This which refers to a dog. For that reason, a dog is here an antecedent. All right. So at first you have to understand the nature, the level, gender, standard of an antecedent. And if you can understand all these factors related to the antecedent, then you can easily choose a correct relative pronoun. Okay? So the use of relative pronoun is very, very important. And if you cannot use it correctly, your sentence will lose its relevance. It will lose its meaning. So if you want to give correct meaning with correct vibe, you must use a related pronoun correctly at correct place. Now, pronoun is of 9 kinds, I have already told you. Number 1, personal pronoun. Personal pronoun refers to persons. Suppose he, she, they, I, you, etc., etc. These are personal pronouns. Then interrogative pronoun. Interrogative pronoun is usually used to put question. Interrogative pronoun is used to put question. Okay. Suppose who goes. This who is used here as subject here, and at the same time it is used here to put a question. For that reason, this who is it is an interrogative pronoun. All right. Now come to relative pronoun. I have already given you examples, and I have also defined it. Now come to indefinite pronoun. Indefinite pronoun means which is not definite. Definite means specific. Definite means specific. And indefinite means non-specific. It does not specify. Suppose I have written here one should keep. One should keep one's promise. One should keep one's promise. Okay. Now think of the subject here, one. This one is doing the function of subject here. And this one does not refer to a particular person. I do not know whether this one is a he or she. I do not know. I do not know whether this one is a gentleman or a gentlewoman. I do not know whether this one is a king or a queen. I do not know. For that reason, I call it an indefinite pronoun. Okay? So, one, anybody, anyone, someone, somebody, these are called indefinite pronouns. So you have to keep all these things in your memory. Now, you may question me, from which book will you get help? For your sake, I just like to suggest a book if you want to achieve clear ideas about different kinds of pronoun. Then I will request you to collect this book, Applied English Grammar and Composition. Okay, and this book is written by Dr. P.C. Dash. Dr. P.C. Dash. And this book, I think, is a very popular book, and this book is very common. It is very common. It is very commonly found in the bookstalls of Milford. So I believe after the situation, this very nightmarish situation caused by COVID-19 is over, you will go there and collect this book. After this situation is over, you will go there and collect this book. It's a very essential book. I think if you read this book, it will help you take preparation for your university admission test. It's a very essential book. You will find lots of things here in this book. So just collect this book. And I think it is not an expensive book. If you collect a second-hand copy of this book, it may cost only 50 taka or 60 taka. And if you want to collect the first-hand copy, that is the new copy of this book, then it may not exceed 150 or at best 200. So you will collect this book. It's an essential book for everybody. You will read this book, and I think you will be benefited by this book a lot. All right. So come to the next kind of pronoun, that is possessive pronoun. Possessive shows relationship. Possessive shows ownership. When I say I possess a book, then I mean I own the book. That is, the ownership of the book is mine. Understand? So when I say my pen, then I mean the pen belongs to me, or I possess the pen. So this my is a possessive. This his is a possessive. Sometimes possessive is created with the use of apostrophe s. Suppose one. This is indefinite pronoun. I have already told you. But if you put an apostrophe s, then it becomes a possessive. All right. Suppose Sadia. This is a noun. And if I want to transform it or translate it into a possessive, then I will use an apostrophe s. Sadia's, suppose Sadia's pen. That is, the pen belongs to Sadia. So apostrophe s or s apostrophe in the case of plural we can create with the help of apostrophe s or s apostrophe. We can create possessives. Okay. Then come to number 6, reflexive pronoun. Okay. Reflexive pronoun. Now, what is reflexive or what is reflex? Reflexive, that is automatic.